Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this Indiana Hoosiers and Colts community on here. So thank you for joining me tonight on this live stream edition. This is the reason why you got to hit the bell notification and you got to do all that stuff. So when I do these live stream episodes like this, and today we have a lot to talk about. Curt Signetti, Big Ten Coach of the Year, and today was National Signing Day, so we're going to hear from him in just a moment, and we will talk about the Indiana game. So we're going to talk about football first, and then we're going to talk about what happened in the Sam Houston game. Is there hope for this Hoosier team? Tell me what you think. Let me pull the comments up. Thank you so much for everybody for being here and being part of this community. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you for being part of Indiana Sports Connection. I respond to all comments on here, so your comments are welcome. We're going to talk about Hoosiers basketball. We're going to talk about Hoosiers football and what they have to look forward to in the college football playoff. We'll look at a mock bracket. There's something that the committee has said that really, and Kent Sterling said this morning, and then my dad said it again, and then I heard another person say it today, and it's like they've said, well, we're not going to hurt you if you lose the game. But if you promote people in the college football playoff that win the games, I mean, aren't you by like just the nature of doing that? Putting people, making the losers go down and the winners go up. I mean, that sounds like the most idiotic logic, but I mean, I don't know. Tell me. I'm not very smart sometimes. So when they say things like this and they don't make sense, I try to make sense of them. And then sometimes I just get out there and I'm like, what are they talking about? And there are a few games left in the college football playoffs. So Signetti, Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, and what a job he has done. I mean, if you compare the basketball program to the football program right now, I mean, Signetti brought in 27 transfers, and look how he got all these guys to play together. I mean, it's unreal how he's got this football team to play. I mean, most football teams you will see will have letdowns. I mean, quarters, halves, times where there are injured players, where the team doesn't look as good. And this Indiana football team looked fantastic from beginning to end. They had the hiccup in the Michigan game in the second half, and they looked nervous in that spot. And then they looked not great against Ohio State, but you take away a couple of those bad special teams plays where they had the run back and we had the fumble that gave them the touchdown. I mean, this Indiana team in football played like balls to the wall from beginning to end of like every single game. You just did not see the effort level ever go down. And I had a quote from Signetti on here, and it's like, this quote should be for the basketball team too. It's like, when you have like-minded people that keep your eye on the bullseye and everybody's working towards the same goal, there's nothing you cannot accomplish. It was something like that. I think I hit it spot on. But let's take a look at and let me take this off of here. But let's take a look at so it was National Signing Day today, and Signetti, I want to play this clip first because he talks about all the players that they got coming in. I didn't even know they have all these players signed and ready to come in. So here was Curt Signetti talking about that.
Signed 21 guys
earlier today.
14 will be early enrollees. 7 will enroll for the fall and report in the summer. 9 on offense, 12. But got all of our papers in early this morning. Signed 21 guys. 14 will be early enrollees. 7 will enroll for the fall and report in the summer. 9 on offense, 12 on defense. 4 from Indiana and Ohio, 2 from Illinois and Tennessee, 1 from St. Louis, so 13 roughly from a 4-hour radius. So like these guys, good players, good people, good character, good students, and this game's all about recruiting and development, and then retention. Keeping the guys that eventually produce. So excited about them.
All right. So there was Signetti talking about the players that they got coming in. And this is going to be an interesting year of how, since the Indiana's playing in the playoff, how they will be able to recruit after being like playing deeper into the year. That could make it, because last year it was December 21st was when the transfer portal opened up. So just something to keep your eye on, because Signetti's going to want to reload, and we already kind of got the schedule for next year, and it's definitely a situation where we want to keep this momentum of the football team going. Now let's take a look at Signetti answers some questions about being coach of the year, and I got this interview right here, I believe. No, I do not. But let's take a look at where they are projecting Indiana. So right now, so many people have Indiana playing Georgia in this in the bracket here. So let's take a look at some of these games. Ohio State, Tennessee, that would be a tough game, and that would be leading into play Oregon. And then this bracket has Boise State. So the games that we have left, we'll go over those games next, because there's about 4 games coming up that we have to talk about. But you got Penn State and Arizona State down there in the 12 spot, Notre Dame and Alabama. They're sliding Alabama in there in a lot of these. And you just know that Alabama is going to get in. I would love to see Indiana play Alabama, because I feel like our defense could really take down Milroe and a lot of these players on Alabama. I've watched a lot more Alabama games than I have Georgia, because Georgia, that scares me. They seem like more like Ohio State in the defensive way, that they could get after us in that way. Now, could it be? Here's one other good thing to think about is how these games are going to shake out. And they haven't released all the details on a lot of this stuff. So, will Indiana, if they play on the road, will they get 5,000 tickets? What's the situation going to be? Is it going to be a neutral site, like a Peach Bowl game, or is it going to be a home game for Georgia? I am really wondering about that, because that plays up a lot, the cross section of that crowd, who is going to be there. But Indiana playing between the hedges, and if they could beat one of these SEC teams, oh my God, there are so many people out there, Paul Feinbaum included, that his head would absolutely explode if Indiana beat any of these, like Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee. If Indiana played any of these teams and beat them, they're going to be a heavy underdog. They're going to be a heavy underdog in these games. But I do have faith. I think Indiana is going to be able to play a competitive game against either Georgia or Tennessee. It would be neat to see them play Notre Dame, but for some reason, I do not see that happening. But let me send this video into the thing here of Curt Signetti and what he said after that. I am working with some new software here at Indiana Sports Connection, and it's definitely a work in progress, but I'm trying to make some longer videos. You know, this week after Thanksgiving, I had definitely some downtime.
Award in 4 different leagues at 3 different levels. So what makes this one special?
Well, you know, they're all special. Great group of coaches, great group of players that overcome their head coach. But this was the biggest venue. And, you know, based on the expectations prior to the season by the media and pretty much everybody else, you know, across the country, you know, and what we ended up getting done on the field, And it was a historic year for Indiana football when you look at the history and the things we accomplished. And we're not done yet, and we're not satisfied.
So, Kurt, you mentioned the preseason expectations outside of Bloomington. What did you know that nobody else did?
I knew we had a chance to be a good football team, and I knew that in December when we brought those 22 transfers in. And we just had to, develop the culture, the mindset. We had good winter conditioning, spring ball, summer, fall camp, had put it on the field, and had been through it before. At Elon, very similar situation. Once you start winning and it builds confidence and belief, and then the people start showing up in the stadium, it just kind of snowballs, and really felt like that could happen here too.
I know sometimes.
All right, there he is. I thought that was a great little spot of Kurt Signetti, but just a fantastic job. I see you there, Jerry. So proud of this Hoosier football program. I mean, we all are. I mean, normally in a lot of years, and I saw today, Tom Allen was here 7 years. I mean, that is unbelievable that he was here that long. But normally the football team at this time of year, we are looking forward to basketball season. And so for Kurt Signetti to bring this excitement in, especially in a year where this is a weird year for basketball. We're going to transition into talking about basketball now, because there are so many people out there. And I just talked to some people today, and it's just so many people are tepid in the pool of Indiana basketball. They don't want to go all in on it. I don't think we're losing our fan base. I don't think we're ever going to lose that. But there are so many people right now with just 1 foot out the door on Mike Woodson. And, last night in the game, we saw a little bit of a different type of approach, I think, from Mike Woodson. And I think he kind of started to get it through his head in that game that it was okay, you cannot have Renew, Ballo, and Mbako on the floor at the same time. And you cannot have Renew and Ballo on the floor at the same time, ever. Those two lineups in the game yesterday against Sam Houston, so they were in the first. So this game, it was close. I mean, until the 13-minute mark, it was it was a 13-12 game. I mean, it was a tight game in the beginning because that starting lineup for Indiana, they only scored. It was a 9-11 game. And that cannot be the case. Leo Goody came off the bench and just provided really just kind of guidance. Leo gets driven on a lot, but for the most part, Leo is smart and he's in the right spots on defense. And Goody provides some type of a vocal leadership out there. That is what this Indiana basketball team is just lacking in all areas. And I mean, I know the video I made the other day, I get so pissed off watching these games. And even the Sam Houston game, I mean, there were some plays, and I'm going to play a couple of clips here, but I mean, there were some plays where it really leaves you scratching your head from, I think, the guy who is the biggest disappointment out of this. And I don't know if it's just because he had such a big buildup, but Miles Rice, I mean, he has got to play better. It's hard to say, is it that hard to play guard for Mike Woodson? Is it you're a football school now, but is it that hard to play guard for Mike Woodson? I was looking at some stats earlier where Xavier Johnson, his turnover ratio was 25%. Miles Rice, I mean, his turnover ratio is very high. It's 27% right now. It's just, we have such a high turnover ratio. There's something within the numbers of this team that have to give somewhere. This team either has to turn the ball over less and they have to rebound better, or they have to start shooting more threes. They're not going to start shooting more 3-pointers. Last night was just a one-off game where Luke Goody made a lot of 3-pointers, and that propelled this team. But I want to talk about the lackadaisical effort by the team. So right at the end of the first half, and in my notes here is so it was Rice got a carry, and this is how things just go downhill so quickly for this group. But it's so Rice had a carry at the end of the first half, And then Galloway came down the floor and he just like ran into a guy, got like an offensive foul. He just ran into a guy that was just standing there. He falls on the ground. Really weird play. I mean, you just plays like that. It's like, it's unfortunate. It's like, you think, oh, I should feel sorry for him. But at the same time, you're like, dude, that's a turnover. Like you just ran into that guy. And then Rice had a bad offensive foul. But those 3 plays, it was like bam, bam, bam. And Sam Houston went on an 11-2 run there and really kind of closed the gap on IU. And it was this play. Indiana doesn't sprint back on defense. And it's 36-48 in the game right here. And this is the play. Let me see. Let me make sure I get the right one here. Is this it? But yeah, is this play right here is like this guy steals the ball down low, and you could see 2 of their guys are sprinting down the floor. Only Renew is back here, and he's getting himself all backed up, and then he comes right in for the dunk. And then we come right down on the other end and turn the ball over right there. And then we're loafing back again. Again, guys are not getting back on defense. And I wrote down early in the game, I had down like early in the game, we were sealing guys off, stopping guys from driving and some things like that. And they were good, but then they were only happening for 3-4 minutes at a time. Like the game is like all the time. When the clock's running, when the game's going, you have to be doing these things. It's not like the attitude of this team under Mike Woodson is like, well, we'll rebound when we feel like we're behind and we need to do it because we're going to look bad. And then when we're behind and we're going to get so far behind, we're going to look really bad. Then we're going to act like we don't try. I mean, that is like the worst attitude that a team can have. And everybody's right. Our football program is better than our basketball program. Like our football program, when Mike Woodson's saying like, we got to get these guys to work together. Can you imagine him trying to get 27 transfers to get to work together? I mean, that's what Kurt Signetti did. And I mean, I know football is a different game, but just a football coach has a lot more to worry about than worrying about 4 guys coming in from different schools to get them to gel with the guys you have. I mean, Pat Kelsey at Louisville brought in 13 guys and as a brand new coach, and he blew your doors off. So, I mean, I don't really want to rehash that whole situation, what happened down there with the gambling and the everything. Check out my last video if you have not seen that. And then I wrote down here, it was like when like Rice gets drove on, and there's a couple of plays where his body language, and look, I don't want to be the a-hole of the year here, but when you just look like you just can't even get up off the floor and you're just moping around, there is much time that Miles Rice spends just moping across the floor. And it's like, I don't know what that's about. I've heard this guy say that his dad coached him really hard and like his dad got in his face and his dad, but it's like, but look, man, I mean, you are a quick guy. You have got to move your feet faster and get yourself in front of guys, because when you are making plays like this out here and you just let the guy drive right around you.
I like calling Indiana games. Like this place is special. I'm a history.
I mean, he doesn't get held up. He doesn't really get held up on a screen or anything right here. It's just kind of a lack of awareness.
I love coming here. Yeah, and now with this, I might never come back. No one's yelled at you today.
But I mean, and then after the play, I mean, he's just kind of like, yep. I mean, that guy had like a free running layup. I mean, it wasn't even like, that's where this team needs to understand on defense. I mean, that just was not even closely contested. When guys get down in the lane, I mean, you have to closely contest shots and make it as difficult as possible for the other team to get the ball. I mean, that seems obvious, but you don't see that out of Renew down low. You don't see him contest many shots. I think Renew, and he loves to have the ball in his hands, and he loves to like be the one with the ball in his hands, but that's all he loves. These guys don't know what to do when they don't have the ball. That is one of the biggest problems with this entire team. Like, that's why having Leal and Goody out there, just having two guys out there that don't look confused and look like they know what to do when they're don't have the ball in their hands, that helps. Like, Leal gets the ball moving and then cuts through the lane and then moves the ball and then cuts through. And it's very simple stuff. And I don't know if he's doing that on his own or if Mike Woodson, he can't be not, but you see other guys, and they ran some different plays yesterday. They were running a play where Luke Goody was running the baseline. I do want to give him that. Mike Woodson, he took those big lineups out of there. I do want to give him the credit for that, because at the beginning of the second half, that big lineup was in there. The starters were in there from the beginning. And I've been saying this, you cannot play those guys. I think Mbako, Renew, and Balo, they are so slow to react. I mean, Mbako on a lot of different plays where when the ball gets turned over, it's almost like there's like a 1/1000 like hesitation in his brain where you're like, okay, like there goes the turnover, and he's kind of like that's not gonna cut it. I mean, I don't know what you got to do to get somebody to move faster, but I can tell you one thing. I can think of some things. Yeah, I mean, it's just those guys have to have an awareness and be able to. I mean, it seems really simple. It seems really simple. I mean, it's like you gotta like act like if somebody was running into the middle of a theater and yelled fire, you'd get on your high horse and, get the hell out of there, wouldn't you? I know I would. It's like Mbako in a fire. Geez, you don't want to be him in a fire. He'd just stand there like. Let's take a look at some of the stats from the game here. Goody, it was definitely Goody's night, and definitely nice to see Goody take threes. But overall, I mean, the team overall did not really shoot that many 3-pointers. So, let's go up here. We are shooting free throws better. I don't know how that happened. Last year we couldn't shoot free throws at all, and now we're 22 of 29. But go back up to the top here. But yeah, we're 7 of 15 on 3-pointers. That's the difference. Like on a game where we're shooting 50% almost for threes, you got to take like 30 of them. I mean, that's what most coaches would do. They gave up 45 points to Sam Houston in the second half. I mean, that's what cannot happen in these games. It's like, James, I see your comment here. I turned it off. I can almost predict what's going to happen. We're not going to hustle. We're not going to play careless. Galloway is going to be out of control. Yeah, Galloway gets himself out of control this year, and I don't know what's going on with that. And I think we know that, like, we cannot count on Galloway to it felt like a light went off somewhere. But after the fiasco down there, I thought Galloway, from watching like some of the podcasts in the offseason, I really thought that Galloway was going to be determined this year and come in and have like this totally more mature mindset, I guess. But, I mean, I don't know him personally, but I do know that when you see little things like what we saw in Atlantis, it really gets under your skin. That's for sure. It definitely gets under your skin. So yeah, that's my take on this stat line is like our field goal percentage, 7 of 15 on threes. We got to shoot more threes. Okay. It's like, it's just pretty simple. Oh, light did go out. That light went out. And the other part is rebounds and turnovers is where we are just going to get killed if we do not get better at rebounds and turnovers. But yeah, we got, 34-20. I mean, we out rebounded this team, but offensive rebounds, they had 5 offensive rebounds. We had 3, but giving up offensive rebounds, that's just giving the other team a chance, giving the other team, and we just do it far too much. And if you have seen the, let's get this off of here. But yeah, we had 8 turnovers in the first half, and that was really, really bad for the team. But it is going to be a gauntlet. This Indiana basketball team, like, has not a great chance of making the NCAA tournament. And it's because we have no quad 1 or quad 2 wins right now. Right now, what we have is quad 3 and quad 4 wins. We have no signature wins, and we won't be facing any teams to get any signature wins until January. So, I mean, right now we're projected to be in KenPom. I don't even want to say it. I mean, we're projected to be, I think, like 14-16 overall and like 7 wins in the Big Ten. I believe it's 8-12 is what they're projecting us in KenPom. And I could have that wrong, but right now this team has to overperform in most all of its games to have a chance to get in the tournament. We are in the net, and that is what the NCAA tournament uses. In the net, we are at 72, I believe, right now, and it gets updated every day. I heard 72 or 74 today. Like, there are 12 teams in the Big Ten that are under 50, and it's just unreal how many teams are in the 30s and 40s in the net in the Big Ten. Those are all teams that are going to be projected to beat us. So we're going to have have a great year in the Big Ten, and I do not see, I mean, with what we've seen so far, and I can't turn the games off. Like, I got to watch all the games. No matter what, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be watching the games. I'm going to be seeing how it's going to play out. Mike Woodson, he's either going to make drastic changes here in this next 3 weeks before the Big Ten season starts, or this team is going to get annihilated because they do not provide the effort level, that do not provide many things that you would need on a basketball team that you're going to say, yeah, I have faith that that team's going to win. Indiana's fallen out of like all of these things. They were rated high because they're Indiana. That's why they were ranked 14th, because they're Indiana and because they have a super talented roster. But we're seeing how Mike Woodson is really screwing that all up right now. I mean, in Nickel, they don't even win the home games. I mean, last year they lost to Penn State at home. I think they lost to Nebraska 3 times. They lost to Nebraska at home. They lost to Penn State at home. They lost to Northwestern at home. So, like, last year we lost, and this team is on a very similar projection. The one last thing I want to talk about, the lineups, is that, so when they brought in, I want to see Goody and Mbako in the game at the same time. Why does he not play Miles Rice, Galloway with Goody and Mbako, and then one big? Then you would have, on both sides, you could have a big that could pass the ball out to a 3-point shooter and play some of that 2-man game. I mean, that's what Purdue did a lot last year with Edey, getting the ball down low and just having the guy out there on the wing make the decision. Like, if you come on the double team, we're going to hit the 3. Like, why don't we go to something like that where you just put the ball but in his hands to really make the reads and, like, do that? I want to see it. He will not put Goody and Mbako on the floor at the same time. I don't know if it's just because they'd be too slow. I mean, I feel like Rice and Galloway could guard guards, and if you had Mbako but I don't know. That is a lineup that I want to see. There are many lineups with this Indiana team that I want to see that Mike Woodson's not putting out there. And I think a lot of us want to see it. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's these kids, it's Woody. It just doesn't seem like they don't play hard. And there's guys. Now, last night, them putting Leal in the game, you could see a little bit of heart out there, but I don't know. I do not know. I don't know Miles Rice well. I don't know any of these guys like personally that well. I've watched interviews with them, but I see Miles Rice and I see a guy that just looks like he doesn't really want to be here. And I see Umar Ballo and I see a lot of these guys and they have a look on their face like they just don't want to be here. Like there was a shot of the bench yesterday where looked like Mbako was just, and some of these guys kind of got benched in the game yesterday. I mean, and didn't play as much. So we'll see. I know Mike Woodson promised many of things to many of these players. And the thing of it is, it's like there comes a time, it's winning time, right? I mean, you got to put the guys out there on the court that have the mind to be able to think through what you're telling them as a coach, and that can't be out there and struggling, I mean, to do the smallest things like Carlisle, right? So many of these guys look like if it's either Woodson's system is hard to understand or whatever it is, they look like they're thinking or they look like they're just off kilter or whatever it is. I hope something will change. They play Miami of Ohio on Friday. We're going to watch that, and I'm going to watch it just like I do all the other ones. But looking forward to the college football playoff coming up here. And here I have the so here are the teams that are left to play. So you got Georgia and Texas. You got UNLV and Boise State. That's where Boise State's probably going to win that. They're a pretty good team because they played a SEC team. That's what, and kept it close with Alabama. I believe that's what keeps Boise State up high in the rankings. Army and Tulane, Friday, December 6th. So we got some games coming up tomorrow, and then Saturday we got the Big Ten. And then, yeah, we got Oregon and Penn State in that. So I don't think Indiana's seeding is going to change that much, but I do not believe that like this is a final bracket. I think Indiana might. I see a lot of people putting, and this is what people are projecting, is that SMU will lose their spot, I believe, or Arizona State. I get so confused. I listen to this stuff on the radio all day sometimes. It's like, but many people think Indiana's going to move up one slot for whatever reason or whatever reason it may be. But it is an exciting time to be an Indiana football fan, and Curt Signetti winning Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. And I think he's going to win National Coach of the Year. I don't know when they announce that, but it should be coming out very soon. So we got all that to look forward to. This is going to be a great December, and I'm really trying to not let the basketball games get me down because this is it. Like, this is it for Mike Woodson. And I don't think they're going to fire him during the year. But very shortly, I mean, Chris Beard has to be the guy that's on the short list to come in here. And yeah, you know what? Indiana Sports Connection, I just throw that stuff right out there. I don't care. Yeah, it's already talking about coaches, and it's December 5th. But Chris Beard, and something I saw and heard in the game they were playing against Purdue, he had like the Bob Knight legacy shirt on. So if that could not have been signaling to Purdue that, yeah, Chris Beard was coming. But Ole Miss looks really good this year, and I'm going to be watching some of their games. But there are a few. I am open-minded, so leave your comments down below. Could be Chris Beard. We're going to start. We really got to, I'm telling you, you got to have a coach, and Dan Dockich is right. You have to have a coach ready to come in like before. You have to know, like, this Chris Beard has got to be in the holster. And, you know, he had the whole domestic violence thing, which, like, oh, he won't pass the purity test of Indiana. I don't give a care about that. I think that stuff blew over. You know, if you go on and you search people on my case, like, I've got a few companies and hired some people, and, you know, I've go on there and, you know, a lot of people get accused of things, and it does show up on my case, or it shows up on things, but you never really know the full story if they weren't convicted of it full time. So I don't know. Chris Beard, you think he passes the purity test? But I'm excited about him. And one last thing I want to say on here, because I don't think the Indiana fan base is split at all. It seems like everybody can see exactly what we have, and maybe some don't like to listen to the complaining about Mike Woodson, or some don't like to listen to whatever it is about the team. But anybody that grew up in Indiana and has watched as much basketball as I have and as you have out there and have gone to as many clinics or whatever, just know that, like, Mike Woodson is not really Indiana basketball. He's NBA basketball. He spent his entire career around NBA basketball. He spent 4 years at Indiana. So, I mean, all of his styles and everything like that, and his habits and what he learned from coaching was from being in the NBA. But my point of all this is, like, Mike Woodson, he has not galvanized this fan base in any kind of way. Like, people thought, oh, an IU guy, and that was going to do it. And it just seems like when you talk to people out there, they don't care about IU guy. Like, it's 2024 now. And I think that argument was maybe 10 or 15 years ago of wanting an IU guy. People just want a guy that's going to be able to be a leadership guy that knows college basketball, can really drive the team and put a product out there on the floor that they really look like they want to succeed and they want to try. And we got that in football, and we can have that in basketball. We get the right coach. Scott Dolson, he's going to make it happen. And I believe there are shinier days in the basketball future. In the future, it is coming. It's just like, we have to get past this thing. And we've still been getting good players. We still have a decent name in basketball, and we just got to get a different coach, and then we can move on. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.